Good afternoon. We're here at the 153rd Pleasanton Highland Games and Clan Gathering. We're here with the Northern California Commissioner for the Murray Clan, and I'm going to ask a few general questions, starting with what got you interested in Scottish culture?
Kiramahashef, which actually means in Scottish Gaelic, how are you? So what got me interested basically was I started a tree on Ancestry.com, and I was talking to a really good friend of mine one day who is Scots, who belongs to the Clan MacLaren. And we were riding around together and we were talking a little bit, and he said to me, he says, you know, I think you got a lot more Scot in you than you think. I said, what makes you think so? And he said, well, you're one of the few people I can tolerate. Little joke on his part. But it got me thinking, and I thought, I wonder. So I decided to run my DNA with Ancestry, which I did, and lo and behold, it came back that I was 78% Scot, so he was absolutely right. Then he said to me, all right, now that you know you're Scot, you got to pick a tartan, you got to pick a clan, and so on and so forth. So I went to the nearest Scottish relative, which was my grandmother, Ellen Murray, and I picked the Murray clan. So one day I went to Pleasanton looking for Clan Murray, because Clan Murray is a large clan, so I'm assuming they're going to be set up in Pleasanton, of course, because Pleasanton is the largest Scottish games in all of North America. And I went walking around, I couldn't find Murray. So I went to the nearest clan alphabetically to Murray, which was Munro, M-U-N-R-O-E. And I said to the Munro fellows, I said, hey, you guys seen the Murrays? And Munro looked at me and he said, the Murrays? He said, my God, we haven't seen them in 7 or 8 years. And I thought, wow, gee, did we offend somebody or something? So I found out who the Murray Clan Commissioner was for the state of California, a nice man named Father Ronald Murray, who lives in Hemet, California. So I called Father Ron and I said, Father, I'm a new Clan Murray member. And he said, well, welcome aboard. What can I tell you? And I said, well, first thing is, why are we not in Pleasanton? I walked all around, couldn't find us. And he said, oh, yeah. I said, are we in trouble? He said, no. He said, we just don't have quite enough help. He said, yes, I'm the California Commissioner, but I'm not able to really cover Northern California because I live down here in Hemet and I cover all the Southern California games. I said, oh, okay, well, maybe I can help. He said, would you like to? I said, yeah, sure. And he says, well, I'll send you some brochures. You print those out, see if you know, and here's a few things that you got to do. He says, and da-da-da-da-da-da. And I said, okay, fine. I did all of that, and he was very impressed. And he said, well, you seem to be really, really enjoying this. I said, I am. He said, well, let me put this to you. He said, we used to split California into North and South. I said, yeah. And he said, how would you like to be the Northern California Commissioner? I said, okay. And here I am.
Well, that's great. So now that you are Northern California Commissioner, what are your duties?
Basically, to set up a tent, to introduce all the Murrays to each other, to make sure that there's some central locale for them, to create a central database so that I can basically send out messages to them saying, hey, I'm going to set up a tent at this game, or I'm going to set up a tent at that game, and everybody can come and join in and meet members of their family, as it were, because after all, clan does mean family.
So is there any average person who comes to your tent and asks questions?
Average, I would say no. Age range is probably more middle age and above. We do get some young people. I wish we had a lot more, of course, but a lot of them don't seem to be real interested in the moment. However, I think they will be over a period of time, especially with all the advertisements that are going on for doing DNA with different respective DNA repositories. Once they find out they might be Scottish and who they might be related to and what clan they might be related to, I think they're going to get more interested as time goes by. But as one of the past commissioners also said, you've got to be very, very consistent, which is why I'm developing that database so that everybody knows where we are.
What about the internet?
Well, as far as the internet is concerned, there is a Clan Murray site. It's called clanmurray.org. And you can go on that site, learn a whole bunch also. But of course, unless you're actually looking for Clan Murray, you wouldn't know that. You would assume it's clanmurray.com or .net or whatever, but it's not, it's .org. So one of the things that we have to do as commissioners also is tell people, hey, listen, there is a central site that you can go to called clanmurray.org where you can find out all kinds of wonderful information also.
Well, what about a person who comes to you and says, well, I think I'm a Murray, I have the last name Murray, but aren't they from Ireland?
There are a number of people, Murrays, who think that they're Irish. Now, it's not to say that they're not Irish, but what they really don't realize is the name Murray is originally Scot. And it was founded by a fellow named Freskin, who was a Flemish knight way, way back when. And he settled in the lands of Murray. And I believe it was King David who granted him those lands, and he took the title Freskin de Moravia, which of course in Latin just means Freskin of Murray, and started his family, and it went on from there, and the name de Moravia was dropped, and it was just Murray at that point. And all of those Murrays eventually, well, not all of them, but a lot of those Murrays eventually decided to move out for one reason or another. Some of it was couldn't find work. Some of it was the old Highland clearances from the Battle of Culloden, and they all went to different locations. And a lot of them went to Ireland, specifically Ulster, and they became known as the Ulster Scots. And when the Ulster Scots started to move to the United States, they became known as the Scots-Irish. So if you can't trace your family back far enough, but you know that they came from Ireland, you of course assume that you're Irish. And in a sense, yes, you are. You're sort of both, since the Irish actually started the Scottish race, and the Scots and the Irish have gone back and forth many times. It's kind of like you're both. In reality, you can say that the overall umbrella is Celtic. So if you're Irish, if you're Scot, if you're Welsh, if you're Brit, you would be a Celt, and that's the overall umbrella.
Okay, well, what if an average person joins your group? What do they get from it, and what can they do for it?
It's a matter of association, right? The biggest reason to join in is because you want to feel as though you're part of a clan, which again means family. You're part of a family, and you have some specific connection to that family. You may be a sept, which means an associated family, or you may have Murray blood, for instance, meaning that your mother, your grandmother, your grandfather, somewhere along the line was also a Murray, and you feel a connection to that. So when you join up, you have that connection. Secondly, of course, you're allowed to wear the tartan. There is a very specific color and pattern known as a tartan. All clans have one. Murrays have a very specific one also, and you're allowed to wear that. Thirdly, we put out a publication every quarter called the Eishen, which deals with past events of Murrays. It also deals with a lot of things going on in Scotland now, and it deals with travel and recipes and all sorts of fun things like that. So you get to be primarily part of the clan, part of the family.
Okay, I've seen lots of people wearing what looks like a Murray tartan, so do you control that somehow?
Yes, there is. In Scotland, there is what's known as the Court of the Lord Lion. And the Court of the Lord Lion is the official designee and the official recorder of your particular tartan. It is, in Scotland, a matter of law. So if you are a particular clan wearing a particular tartan, that's fine. You can actually even have your own tartan specifically made up, but you cannot wear someone else's for no particular reason. It's not lawful.
So we're in America. What does this have to do with my identity as an American?
It doesn't interfere with your identity as an American at all, because of course everyone remembers that America is the melting pot. All it means is, well, this is where my DNA says that my family originated from, and so I have some association with that, and that's a nice thing. So you could be called Irish American, you could be called Scots American, you could be called African American, you could be called Japanese American, and so on and so on. It's just an association with your past family that basically tells you where you came from.
I think that's good for now. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.